Hi. Yes, back again. I know nobody really watches these, but it's just fun for me to do it. Allows me to express some ideas that I might have about certain things, so it keeps me from talking to myself too much about it. And I don't always have people to talk to because people around me that watch some of these shows aren't right in front of me, so it's easier for me to just talk about this. And I don't have time to do a long, drawn-out, journal post, so this is my way of doing it. I'm going to touch briefly on Once Upon a Time, only a little bit, because The Walking Dead is going to require so much, because I was mad. Really, really mad. And about as mad as Daryl is going to be in a week or two. So, but we're going to talk a little bit of Once Upon a Time, because it was interesting. He had the Little Mermaid, Ariel, very cool. And the whole story, she's helped out Snow and everything. Amazing how Snow, meets all these people over the course of her time. She's, run into so many of them, Cinderella and Ariel and Robin Hood and all these other people that she just runs into. And it's just amazing. But this interesting little thing about this was the whole thing with Captain Hook last week, where I wasn't sure whether Captain Hook was going to tell Emma about Neil being alive. And I'm saying my opinion of him is going to be based on what he does with this information. And he actually did something cool with it. He didn't exactly tell Emma, but he told Snow and Charming. And Snow can't keep a secret. She refuses to say it. She just blurts it out and tells Emma that Neil's alive. And they go get him. And it turns out they put him in this cave of echoes where you've got to reveal this big secret, deep, dark secret that you don't want anybody to know about. And Snow reveals she wants another baby. Charming finally tells Snow that he can't leave Neverland, ever. And Hook confesses that he's kind of in love with Emma. And, okay, I kind of felt a little bad for him, but not particularly. And it is what it is, because I'm a Neil girl. So they finally get their way over, and the only way to get Neil out of the cage is for Emma to confess her big, deepest, darkest secret, in which she tells him how scared she is about him and how maybe she wanted him to be dead, because it would have been easier for her to deal with, and now that he's alive, now she's going to deal with all the feelings that come with that, and how scared she is about things happening, bad things happening for her in that relationship. And it was a nice moment with her and Neil, and it was sweet, and I loved it. And Hook, I felt bad for him there, because I can see that he's, torn over this. And I can see that this could be a problem with him, because he might turn back into the dark side again, so to speak. It's kind of looking like it. If it would get him Emma, I think he might do a lot of things. He strikes me as that kind of guy. Neil said something to Emma that I thought, it reminded me a lot of what Tony said to Ziva, and her final episode was, he said he would always fight for Emma. And I love when guys say things like that. I don't know what it is, it just makes me just go, oh my god, it's just one of those things. Because when Tony said that to Ziva on NCIS, I almost died, because I knew Ziva was gone, and that was just terrible. And it was just such an amazing confession. And I like it. I don't like triangles, though. I hate triangles. Triangles piss me off, because it's just a cheap way to get drama. Lost was fabulous at doing this, and it aggravated the piss out of me. Every time they had a relationship on that show, they had to have some sort of triangle involved. The whole Jack, Kate, and Sawyer thing just completely caused so much upheaval with the fans, so much ship-to-ship warfare, so much of that crap that I just cannot stand. And it's one of the reasons why I wanted to back away from being a shipper, but I guess I'm just a romantic at heart. It's hard for me to give that up completely. So I hate when shows resort to the triangle. I hate it. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. Because it's going to cause this problem. You're going to have disagreements with your own friends about it. It's like the Team Edward and Team Jacob thing, stupid shit from Twilight. That I can't stand that stuff. And I want to get that off my chest. I hate triangles. And I'm going to give you another, the basic reason why I hate them before I get into The Walking Dead. Like I said, it cheapens this. And it's a cheap way to do it. To me, it's far more interesting to see two people try to work through the shit in their lives, the shit in their heads, and all those things that complicate relationships, rather than throw another person in the middle of it just to create drama. My opinion is, if you love someone, no one should be able to come between you and that person. And if you can't choose between two different people, then you don't deserve either one of them. That's my main issue with triangles. And I want to get it completely off my chest and say, I despise this particular type of storyline. I despise it. It's bad. It's horrible. It's bad writing. And if they're going to do that, then they're going to be into some serious trouble with their things. Okay. I'm not going to go on with Once Upon a Time too long. I said I was going to try to slow down on that one because I really, really, really want to get into what happened on The Walking Dead, because that was, oh my God. Okay. Well, The Walking Dead. This is interesting because there were two separate storylines going on in the show. We only saw six of the main characters out of all the characters. We only saw a certain amount of people. So they had two storylines. They had the storyline with Daryl and Michonne and Tyrese and this guy Bob, who's looks like a new series regular and has some baggage and complications, which is what happens when you bring people in that you don't know. They end up with these things that you find out about. And the other one involves Rick and Carol in the bombshell that was dropped last week. I want to get into the trip to the veterinary thing first, because the Rick and Carol stuff is the main crux. And these two stories are going to intersect, and not in a good way. But for now, they stay separate in this particular episode. So anyway, we left off the group heading to the hospital to pick up the antibiotics. We left them off having lost their car and overrun by walkers, so they gotta go find a new vehicle. And we start to learn more about Bob. We learn he'd rather be alone than be with the group, because he's seen people die that he feels like it's almost better to be on your own, because then you don't get attached, then you have to deal with it, then you have to watch people die, watch everybody just disappear and turn into walkers and end up dead and everything. And you can kind of understand that mentality, because I think I would feel that way too after a while. I mean, like Daryl said, I'm sick of losing people. You get sick of it. You get sick of getting attached and then seeing these people just die, become walkers, and you have to kill them. And it sucks. So I can understand that mentality. And he confesses to Daryl that he took the bottle off the shelf that caused the collapse in the supermarket that got Zach killed. And Daryl says that's bullshit. He says, I picked the place, so if anything, it's my fault. So da-da-da-da. So you just gotta let that shit go. So, and Tyrese is still going through his anger issues over his death of Karen. And he almost lets himself get eaten by a walker, but it doesn't matter. Which is good. And he and Michonne have a talk, and they say, and she tells him she gotta stop being angry. She says, I just stopped being angry about it. And he says, so why are you still chasing the governor if you're not mad? And it sort of puts a thought in Michonne's head about why she's still doing this. If she's not angry anymore, then why is she still after him? why does she still want to hunt him down and kill him? She wants revenge for Andrea, which, yeah, we all do. But she's really starting to realize that she doesn't have to do this. She doesn't have to keep going out and being and doing that. She can stay now. She can settle down into one place for once and finally, become a real contributing member. And so they go into the hospital. They gotta fight off a few walkers here and there, but they get in there after they find a minivan, and this is nice and convenient because you can carry a lot of shit in a minivan. And they get there, they go pick up all their medicine and everything, and we see Bob starting to pick shit up in the other room, one of them being a bottle. Now, we only see him pick up one bottle, but that's not all he picked up. They get all their stuff. They get it all together. They go out. They have to climb through a window to get out because they're getting overrun by walkers. And they're going out to the roof part, like under the sort of awning overhang thing. And they're on that. And one of the walkers start grabbing at Bob's bag, and he won't let it go. So they're like, why won't you let this go? And so they finally get it loose. He gets it loose, and it falls, and the bottle falls out. And Daryl goes ballistic. I haven't seen him this psycho-looking since they left Merle on the roof. I haven't seen this. You haven't seen this anger level that he can get to. And he basically tells Bob that if, this is all you brought, this is all you took with bottles, the rest of us got medicine, you got bottles, so if any people in that prison die because of you and you're drinking, I'll beat the shit out of you. Now, and he's just enraged, like redneck enraged. And he's going to get worse because there's something else going on. He's not even aware of at this point in time, which I will get to. Daryl's scary when he's angry. Very scary. And it leads me to believe that this is probably something that has to do with him being a kid. Because his father was an alcoholic of some kind, and he used to beat the shit out of Daryl when he was little. Like he left scars all over his back, and it's just horrible. And Daryl's in very low tolerance for this stuff. And he's just in a pissy mood when they leave. And Michonne tells him she's not going out for the governor anymore. He's like, yeah, whatever. He's just studying the stone that he picked up. He just looks angry. Like riff shit angry. Like, it's just, and like I said, he's not done being mad by his threats when he finds out what has happened and he wasn't there. The other story that's going on has to do with the revelation that Carol gave Rick last week. Rick discovered some evidence, and he asked Carol if she killed Karen and David, and she said yes, she did. And now we see Rick packing the car up so they can go on a run. And he's putting all kinds of stuff in the back seat, and it's more than they need. Like extra gasoline and everything. I'm like, why is he doing this? They're not going that far, and they have a fully gassed car. This is not good. They're interspersing this with Carol talking to the little girl, the creepy little girl, by the way, I might add. There's something not right with this girl. Like, there's just something up with this girl. She's a little too, I want to say, like when you see those kids that are lacking something, the ones that you can tell are going to have, are going to be problems. Like, maybe I watch too much Criminal Minds or something, and I see it in weird little kids. But she's weird. And in the course of talking and during the stuff, she says something interesting to Carol about, she says, it was an accident. And Carol says, don't talk about that, don't worry about it. And I'm like thinking, what was an accident? And all I can go back to is how she took the knife out of Carol's hand a couple episodes ago, before David and Karen were dead. And I got a theory on this that I'm going to expand on expound isn't even a word. I'm going to expand on this when I get done with this, because it's going to have some bearing on what happens if my theory turns out to be true. She's basically telling the little girl to keep her knife out and all this stuff. And this sounds like a goodbye speech, even though at the time she probably didn't know anything. she and Rick go out on a run. And Rick's kind of not talking to her a little. And it's odd that he took her instead of taking Maggie. And Carol knows this, and she says, why? She notes it and says, maybe it's because you wanted someone you could trust there. She's trying to explain herself the whole time. She's trying to explain her reasons behind killing David and Karen. She basically tells him, she says, I did what I had to do to protect everybody else. This is the only, this was the only option. They were the only ones who were sick. And I was trying to stop the disease. I was trying to stop them from becoming walkers, and having what happened with Patrick happen again. Because that was a mess. And she's telling Rick, as they're searching through houses and things, that you can't just be a farmer and sit there. She says, you can't just be like this. She says, I'm trying to protect people, be proactive, I'm trying to help people. And Rick's just not having any of it. He's thinking as he's listening, but he's just not saying how he feels about this just yet. Anyway, they run into these two other people, this guy and this girl, and they try to, they're going to help. And the girl goes off to pick, grab some more apples, and the guy goes off to do something else. After Carol fixes the guy's shoulder. And this seems to a conversation between Rick and Carol out in the yard when they're getting stuff together, and Rick tells him about how Laura used to make pancakes, and really awful pancakes, and Carol tells him a little bit about how she learned how to fix dislocated shoulder, she said, because she didn't want to have to explain to the nurse why she fell down the stairs for a third time. Carol was an abused wife. She was bad shit happened to her. Ed was not a nice guy, and this gives her a lot in common with Daryl. They're both kind of coming from abusive backgrounds. Why were they so close to each other? They probably get it, and they probably even talked about it, which is kind of, I think, may have happened off camera among other things. But anyway, they sort of have a nice moment. You think, okay, maybe Rick's going to understand. He's going to forgive her for this and bring her back and let everybody else in the group decide what to do with her. Well, before they go back, they find the girl that they were with got killed. Eaten. Nasty scene. You see someone getting eaten. You see the girl's leg. You recognize the leg. She's got a tattoo on it. She's dead. The other guy, we don't know where he is. We don't know when he's going to pop up again. He's probably off somewhere getting high. He looks like they're hanging out. But, so Rick and Carol start to leave. Carol goes to get in the car, and Rick leaves the door locked. And she's like, you're going to unlock this? And he goes, I'm not bringing you back with me. He basically tells her, I can't trust you around my kids. Those people might have lived. And this is just something I can't deal with anymore. And, so guess what? You're out. Go. Leave. Never come back to the prison. Carol's like, this is me. You did, and Rick's just, I've had enough. And basically tells her she's not the same person she was. She's stronger now. She can survive on her own. She'll find other people and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, what are you doing, Rick? And Carol looks like she's about to break down. She says, I don't want to leave without the kids. And Rick says, you're not taking the kids. The kids are staying with us. You're gone. See you later. Goodbye. He basically tells her that the other people in the group would probably feel the same way if they knew what she'd done. This is a presumption on his part because he doesn't know how the other people would think of this because he hasn't told them yet. The last shot we get, Carol gets in the car, gas can in hand, gets in the car, and drives off, and Rick's driving in the other direction, looking in the rearview mirror to make sure she's not behind him, following him. Rick just kicked Carol out of the prison. Carol, of all people. Now, I can understand the motivation. I can understand his reasoning behind why he did this. because I like Rick, and I've defended Rick quite a bit over the years. Not my favorite character, but he's close. But I've defended him because he gets shit for other things, for being a little weaker and less, maybe a little too morally tight. But I can't defend him on this one. And the reason I can't defend him on this one, honestly, because it was Carol, but because he made this decision without consulting anyone else in the group. That's wrong. Because he said he wasn't going to do that again. He told them at the end of last season, I'm not going to be a dictator anymore. I'm going to let all of us decide things like this. After what happened with Michonne, he said, I am not going to make decisions for you people. We're all going to make it together. And he just made a decision, a big one, by himself without consulting anyone. This is not good for the group. This is not good at all. And when they find out, some of them are going to be mad, somewhat more than others. Daryl is going to be pissed. He's already pissed. He's already in a bad mood as it is because of Bob. And this just might send him over the edge. He loves Carol. Anybody who watches the show knows he's close to Carol. And there's no way in hell he can't be pissed, because if he's not, then the writers are not doing their job. Rick superseded everyone else and made the decision on his own to condemn Carol, to banish her from the prison site, to banish Carol from the prison. Carol! Yes, that Carol. Carol is at the heart of the group. She is one of the biggest. She is the heart of that group. She is the solid little heart of that group. And he just kicked her out. And people like me, Herschel won't be happy about it because Rick made a decision without him. Daryl's definitely going to be pissed about it because that's his girl. And he's gone along with Rick on a lot of things, I think, over the years. He's, for the most part, been agreeing with him, gone lockstep with him for the most part. Even being accused by Merle of, when Rick says jump, Daryl says how high. This isn't necessarily the case. He does question him, but he doesn't argue with him. He's never really disagreed with him, except when it came to the first thing with Merle. But after that, he sort of came around to the right ideas. This could be a breaker, a deal breaker for him. This one right here. Because Rick put all of them, made it a council, made it a thing, so you guys make decisions for the group. And now he went back on that and condemned Carol. It's also hypocritical on his part because his own son committed cold-blooded murder too. And because he allowed Merle to stay there, and Merle was not trustworthy either. And Michonne, when she first came in, he didn't know her from Adam, but he let her stay. So he kicks Carol out for this. Sorry, I have a cold. Anyway, it's dumb, and it's wrong, and it's going to cause all kinds of repercussions that are going to probably bring them to the mid-season finale in about 4 weeks. And they say it's going to be awful. So I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how this is going to affect everything. All I know is there's no way in hell that Daryl's going to be happy about it. And I can see a confrontation brewing with him and Rick. I can see one brewing between him and Tyrese, because Tyrese finds out Tyrese is going to want to kill Carol. So it's... He basically took the decision into his own hands to condemn a member of his group that has been there since the beginning and send her out into the world. Yeah, Carol's tough. Carol could probably survive for a while, but what if she runs into a horde by herself? A herd? What if that happens? She could die. It's even the toughest of them can fall victim to it if you're by yourself. And it's just, never mind the fact that the governor's still out there somewhere. And God help her if he ever got a hold of her. It's bad, and like I said, I defend Rick a lot, but I can't defend him on this one. Also, not just because he made it to anybody else, but because I can understand what Carol did. If, in fact, she did it. I have a theory about the little girl. When she said it was an accident. What was she talking about when she said it was an accident?
18 months later.
I have a theory about this little girl. I think there's something wrong with her. I think that maybe she killed David and Karen. They were too sick or too weak to fight back against a child at that point in time. And if the little girl killed them, if she came over and stabbed them, if she wasn't weak, or to make walkers or to do whatever, she's strange. There's something wrong with this girl. And Carol finds this and decides to cover it up by burning the bodies and trying to stop the disease and everything. And then takes the rap because she knows that Rick won't, that this little girl is sick, and if she gets thrown, God knows what they would do if they found out that they had a little girl that was killing people. This is a theory. It's not, I'm not basing this on anything that I read or anything. Some people have hoisted the theory that Carol is protecting these girls from that. And because she's the one to get thrown out, and she doesn't want them to get isolated or anything to happen to them because of this. Because that's in Carol's character to do something like that. And I could see her doing something like that. Taking the rap. And if she did take the rap, then Rick kicked her out, and people in the prison find out somehow, someday, that happens. If that happened, it's going to be even worse. Fallout, basically. That she was sent out because she was innocent. And this leads me to another theory about how Rick is going to tell people in the group without, to explain away her absence. Is Rick going to tell them the truth? Is he going to tell them what happened? Is he going to tell them why he did it and why he went over their heads and did it all on his own? Is he going to say that? Is he going to tell the truth? Or is he going to lie and say that she died when they were out on the run? Because of the potential fallout of what the truth will bring. It's an interesting thought. And I don't know how he's going to explain this to people. I don't know how he's going to tell people that he just kicked out a member of their group that has been with them since the beginning. I don't know. And all they're saying is that the repercussions of all these things are just going to go ricochet through the season. It's going to be, the fallout is going to be bad. And I can't help but think that this is going to cause a major rift in the group. Because regardless of whether Carol did it or not, and the reasons for doing it, she's still Carol. And there's people in that group that love her, especially Daryl. He's just not going to take it well, I can just tell. And I don't know where this is going, and I'm excited and scared and hoping that Karen won't die, and hoping that Daryl and Carol have a moment together, that, because they can't just leave it like that, because they didn't even get to say goodbye to each other. So it's just, if you're going to build a couple up like this, you need to give them some sort of something, like they did with Tony and Ziva. They at least tried there to give them some sort of weird closure, even though I still think Ziva might be back someday. It's just a theory. But, maybe with a little denosa. But anyway. Yeah. So, I can't see them just leaving it at that and never addressing this, because this is something that's been building, and there's a fan following for it. And if Daryl's not super pissed about this, then the writers aren't doing their job. There's no continuity or anything. He would want to hear her out. He would want to hear it from her. He'd want to know her reasons for it from her mouth. And the running theory is he's going to go try to find her, and if that's the case, then Daryl's going to be gone for a while. And I heard a rumor that Norman Reedus is going to be off the show for a couple episodes too. If that's the case, then he's probably going to be out looking for Carol, which makes sense to me. It was good, and the fact that it can still piss me off when things like this happen is an indication that they're doing their job to some degree, because it's creating a conflict. And I love conflicts. I love the dysfunction and the conflicts that come from that. And I really can't wait to see where this is going to go, and I'm a little apprehensive about it. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on that. And, yeah, so I could go on for hours on this, if given the opportunity to go on for hours about it. Anyways, that'll do it for the reviews for this week. I'm not going to go over my other shows. There's not enough going on for me to warrant any extra time on it. I will say that my sports teams are having varying degrees of success. The Bruins are struggling a little. Early in the season, they're having a rut. They're fighting through something. I don't know what it is. Even though Louis Erickson is back, which is good. He only missed 4 games from my concussion, thank God. They're fighting through some issues, and they can't quite figure them out yet. And I know they'll fix it, because they've got a long season to fix that. The Red Sox won the World Series. Yes, 3. Never in my life did I expect to see the Boston Red Sox win 3 World Series. Never mind 1. You know, I never thought I would see them win 1, and they won 3. It's ridiculous. They had a nice moment where they put the World Series trophy on the finish line of the Boston Marathon to honor the people that were killed and injured in that horrible event that I still tear up when I think about. So, that was a nice moment, and it really just makes it all that much better. And it really helped the healing process for the area. And the Bruins started the healing process last year, you know, having the first game after the marathon and starting the whole Boston Strong thing. And then the Red Sox, the Bruins went to the World Series, the Stanley Cup is late, sorry, and almost won again, and lost in a heartbreaking fashion to the Blackhawks, but not too bad. The Blackhawks took it from them more than they gave it away. And the Red Sox finished it by winning the series. We're still a long way from being okay, but we're getting there. And our sports teams helped a lot, especially the Bruins, especially the Red Sox. They really represented their city really well, and we're really proud. And it's the reason why sports are so important around here. We love our sports teams here. We love them. And it's an unhealthy obsession, but we love it. So, that should finish up what I have to say for this week. And I apologize. I'm a little off when I do these. Sometimes I do these late at night and I'm tired. I had a long weekend at Gillette. I work at Gillette, so. Alright, that's it for this week. And if you're watching, thank you. You're one of the few people that actually do. But I tend to do this more for myself than I do for other people. It's a way for me to start talking louder and more precise and just getting used to being on camera and things, because I was never I was pretty camera shy for a long time. I didn't like my picture taken or anything. So, thank you for watching, if you're watching. And we'll see what happens. And I'll see you all later. Bye-bye.